Hey, what's going on YouTube? I'm making a follow-up video to my Chicago video about the feds being sent in. I guess Rahm Emanuel sat down with Sessions either yesterday or the day before and said, bring in the feds. I read this in the Chicago Tribune, and apparently he wants everybody in there, FBI, ATF. He wants him working with Chicago police. I guess basically the main thing he wants is he wants tougher federal guidelines or more, what's the word I'm looking for? He just wants tougher gun laws, tougher federal gun laws. He wants them enforced more. And I guess that's the federal attorney in Chicago that's dropping the ball on that. They're not prosecuting these people in Chicago as much as they are in cities like Baltimore and Milwaukee and Brooklyn and all these other places that have stricter federal gun laws. So that's kind of the way I see it. That's kind of on the feds. That's the feds' fault. That's really not Rahm Emanuel's fault. You know, he really can't decide if they're going to charge people or not, you know. But be that as it may, he's asked Sessions for help, went to him directly. I guess they're going to have a meeting in Chicago where they're going to sit down and talk more. Do I think it's going to help? I think it might help a little bit. But on the other hand, if somebody's going to kill somebody, they're not going to be too worried about a federal beef for carrying a firearm. But I do think it will definitely maybe curb some of the lower level stuff. And another thing that Emanuel asked for is he asked for more federal aid for after school programs. I guess that funding has been cut. And they want to do a few other things. Just it sounds like he wants to update the Chicago Police Department, and he's looking for help from the federal government, working in coordination with that. One other thing I want to bring up about Chicago is there's been a lot of talk about Chicago's clearance rate for homicides. It's hovering around 33%. Now, we all know why that is. Because the citizens in these areas where these homicides are mostly taking place distrust the cops because the cops are acting inappropriate. Department of Justice was just released a report a couple weeks ago saying the Chicago Police Department in those areas they're acting inappropriately. And it's a high gang area. And you know that people aren't going to snitch. The cops can't protect you. The cops aren't going to protect you. So you're going to be a snitch and have yourself and your family put at risk. That's, street justice. We all know street justice. Anybody that's been in the hood knows about street justice. That's why the clearance rate is so far down. It's because people are not going to testify against these people because they're going to get whacked themselves. Another thing I want to bring up. I'm going off 2016 numbers here. For the top 4 neighborhoods for homicides accounted for 34% of the homicides in Chicago. And that is the Austin neighborhood, Inglewood neighborhood, Garfield Park, and New City. Now, Austin's always going to be the leader in homicides because it is the biggest neighborhood. There's 100,000 people in that Austin neighborhood. But whenever anybody talks about Chicago, you have to go in and look at the numbers deeper because the whole city is not under siege. It's just certain neighborhoods, mainly on the south and west side. Now, if you're going to clean up Chicago, those seems to be would be the neighborhoods to start in. And that's all I got to say. Just to follow up on that, follow me on Twitter at TepsAreWhack. Drop me a tweet, whatever. With that, I'm out.